Okay, welcome along today, guys. Can you hear me over there, Martin, Maya? Are you there in Tallinn? Oh, well, we'll get going anyway. Righto, today we are going to do some work on graphic overrides and how they can help you make your job easier, more efficient, and maybe even finding problems and things like that. So if we start off with a basic plan, like with the one that we've been looking at over the last few weeks, it's just got a basic sort of office set up with a showroom out the front, and I've put zones in each space to name the type of spaces, and as these are zones, we can assign extra data to them. So I've gone into each zone here, and in the properties, so that's down here in classification and properties, we have the ability to set all sorts of data. I mean, these are only, as we discussed earlier in another session, these are customizable. You can set these up however we want anyway to do anything that you need to do. So this is basically just a default setup that we've got here. So we've got things like the renovation status, whether the openings are handicap accessible or not, floors are non-skid. So what we'll do today is we'll just go through and we'll use like the fire classification and compartmentalization and maybe a bit of noise. There we go, noise level requirement. We'll have a play with that and see what we can do to use our graphic overrides to show various bits of data in our plans. So if we go here, back to the plan, this is just the basic plan with no graphic overrides at all. So our fills, not our fills, our zones are as we've assigned them. So actually we'll just name this one a showroom while we're at it, just to make it clear why it's a different color. Now we're going to go into our graphic override, and you can probably see there's a few presets here from the ArchiCAD graphics, or ArchiCAD itself. Now if I just choose this fire plan, you'll see quickly that it's changed colors of our zones automatically, and wonder why. So the reason being is that if we go into the graphic override on the screen, hold on, where are we? So we're going to see how this graphic override is set up. So basically what it's doing is, this is the name of the graphic override over this side, and here are the component rules that make up this whole graphic override. So a graphic override could just have one thing in it, or it could have a heap. Now this one here, we are looking for showing different fire zones, as well as showing fire ratings of the walls, and then turning anything else that's not related to fire to empty fill or white fill. So if we go into here, so if this is the first one, fire zone 1, we can check in here and see, I'm going to go back here, see how that rule is made up. So basically it's looking for a zone. So the element type is a zone, and this can be anything that we want, or all types. And also that the fire compartment, so pull this out, fire compartment property from that zone is fire zone 1. So then we can click in here and it will list out the options that we have available there. So what it's going to do is it's going to look for any zone that's in fire zone 1, and then we have the option down here of turning on the things that the graphic override will change. So it's going to change the fill type to 25% on all cover and uncut fill types. It's also then going to change the foreground pen to red and the background pen to transparent. And go OK. So if we go to zone 2, basically looking for the same thing, but it's just going to change the foreground color to blue. So if we go OK and come down to just one of the wall ones. So on this one here, we're going to look for any type of element that has a fire resistance rating of 2 hours. It's going to change the fill to common brick, the foreground fill to white, and the background fill to red. And it will also override the pen color and thickness. And it's going to change the surface of that object to red. Okay, and that's override uncut surfaces and cut surfaces. So if we've got a cut in the wall, it will do the whole wall. So, okay, and then that's going to carry through for these other ones as well. So if we go back OK here, now I haven't got this one fully customized, so I'll go to this zone here and we'll say that this zone is fire zone, that was meant to be fire zone 1. Okay, so now you see that that's quickly changed to the right zone color. Now, because we've got separations of zones here, these walls, if we give them a fire classification as well, so maybe they're the main firewall, so we'll give them, say, a 2-hour fire rating, and you see immediately that they've changed to the red fill. Now, if this external wall was boundary to another property and it had, say it was even longer, 3 hours, it changes to that type of wall, and then just we'll put these internal ones just to slightly higher rating. So if we just said they had a 45-minute, and because 45-minute wasn't defined, it hasn't changed anything. So, okay, so maybe we want to define the 45-minute firewall as well. No, there's 1 hour. Okay, so but maybe we want to add, we'll add one now. So we'll just call that one, we'll edit this rule. We'll just call that 1 hour. And now we want to add another rule to define a 45-minute firewall. So if we go add, and because we haven't got a preset rule, so what we've got is these are all the rules that we've sort of got preset up. So we can use any of those in any of our graphic overrides, but the one we want's not there. So we go create new rule. We can create that new rule from scratch if we want, or we can just duplicate another rule. And if we just say the 1 hour fire rating, and we'll call it 45 minutes. Okay, so what it does is it just duplicates exactly what was in the 1 hour fire rating. So we come in here and we want to now change this. So we want to take, we just want to make it 45 minutes. So we say that the fire resistance rating is 45 minutes, and then we're going to remove. And now we will say, give it a, it's changed its fill type to background, we'll make it say 25% like the rest. And we'll see a foreground color of, we'll use this purple color here. And it will change the color of the wall to ultramarine as well. Okay. And okay. And why did that not? Oh. Which walls did I have that one there? Let's check the settings again. 45 minutes. Right. It can be quite confusing at times. So we've got 45 minutes here. So if we go and edit our rule, fire resistance rating is 45 minutes. Fill type 25%. Right. Hold on, it's not looking good there. And we'll see what happens. Oh no. It always happens. So I just want to work out what's gone wrong here. We cannot, so we've got the settings, because also how this works is that it takes the rules from here, so the top rules override everything else. So we've got here. We'll choose a wall, fire resistance. Is the right thing? This is very difficult, but that's okay. Hold on, we'll go back into this wall again. Fire resistance, bugger. Well, try one from scratch. So what we'll do is I've actually set up a ceiling plan. So if I go in here and we'll go to the ceiling plan and see if we can do a brand new one, and then we can work it all out from there. So if we turn on finish ceilings, okay, those ceilings gone. So what we should have here is some ceilings. Yep. We should have cover fills on. Now what we want to do is we'll turn off no overrides, righto. So now we've got back here, we've got a ceiling plan. There was an override in there, but that was to turn all the ceilings to blank. What we're going to do is we're going to create our own, and we will do it so that it clearly defines, so we can show what ceiling heights we've got in each room. Mouse. So once my mouse, here we go, once my mouse is here. So we'll go here, so basically we want to create a brand new override, so we go new, and we can either do the same again, so we could actually duplicate something we've already done, or we can start again. So we'll go ceiling plan, we'll call this one heights. We'll go OK. Now we want to add some rules to it. So basically what I've done here is I've set this up so that the office ceilings are 2.4 meters high, and the showroom ceiling is 2.7 meters high. So if we go into here, we've got nothing really set up already, so we want to create a new rule. Now this new rule we can call the first one ceilings 2.4 meters. We'll go OK and set this up. So we'll go in here. So it's come up over here now, and all we want to do is we want to find our ceilings. So our ceilings are set on slab, and then we can add model view. So if we go to the layer and they're on the ceiling, finished ceiling layer, and then we can go positioning, and it's home offset, and click down here to add, equals 2400. And now we want to put the background fill of those ceilings at 2400, say, into purple. We choose the cover fill override. We probably don't need the cut fill override, and then we can go OK, and hopefully it's turned all the 2.4 ceilings to purple. And then we can go add, create new rule, and we want to just duplicate that rule, and we'll call it 2.7 meters, and add, and then we come in here and change that to 2700, and change our color, say, to orange, and go OK, and bang, it's changed all our ceilings to orange. Now, the beauty with all this too is that for whatever setup we have, we can save these as view map sets or view map views. So we can create all of our different types of views from there. And if we get another thing too, if we go back to that fire plan, another thing that allows us to do is, if we just go into here into 3D, slide the ceilings, and so by setting the rule to say change the material type, so we've got in here, down here the surface, change the surface color. We can then quickly go through our model and find out where firewalls are and things like that. So in this one here, we've actually noticed that none of our doors here are in a firewall, but they're white still. Oh, come on. That's not good there. So we can actually now come through and grab all those doors and go through to the door settings. And down here, classifications. And that was, what did I make that, 1 hour, 2 hours? That's 2 hours. Yep. So now those doors have got the same classification as the firewall. So it's very easy then to move around your model and find out what data you haven't assigned to anything else. Yeah, so basically then you can save those view sets. So if we were to now go back to the floor plan and the fire plan, so we could then create empty folders here. So we could create a folder here, new folder, I'll say floor plans, and then we could save this current view as fire plan. And bang, so that's in there. So now we could go, so once we flick back to our ground floor, it'll change all our things down here. Graphic overrides, no graphic overrides, and then into our fire plan, we'll change it as we want. And the other one that I was going to show you basically was like the same sort of thing, but we could, where we go back to our floor plan, maybe acoustical requirements. Well, actually, no, another one I've set up is different types of ownership of these rooms. So we could then go through here and say new graphic override. So we could say, we'll call them room ownership. Would be easiest, room owner. Yep. New combination. And now we want to add some zones. So what have we got here? No, nothing really suitable. So if we just create a new rule, and we will call this one public space. Okay. Okay. So we're going to be looking for zones with the property of, where was it? Property is public, and then we can go and change the background pen to blue. So that'll be we'll just choose those. Okay, and now we can see it's just changed all our public space to blue. So we can set that up with, you know, others as well. So then we'll go add new rule, duplicate public, And we'll call that one private space. Okay. Change that. Change that. Okay, okay. Let's change those. So we can sort of create all sorts of view sets and combinations to present all sorts of information from the same base drawing, really, again, and without having to do too much other than set up a few overrides. Now, also be used in sections. So if we go through to our section here, I know here we like to make our sections black, showing structure. So this is just basically the raw section as it is. And there was a preset in here for, oh no, it's the other one. No, sorry, it was not a preset, it was on the other file I was looking at. But if we go back into here and go create a new, and we want to say sections to black, new combination, okay. We want to add all cut fills solid black, okay. And it's automatically done our cross section showing all of our walls and slabs and anything structural black. So we don't have to go over with a fill and waste time making that look nice. So yeah, so thanks for joining us, and that's probably all for today. Hope you guys can check out some of these graphic overrides and use them for all sorts of information presentation, and go from there. So join us again next week. Cheers, bye.